Thanks for joining us. I am Matthew Gage, pastor of Faith Baptist Church in Decatur, Texas, and this is our daily Bible study. We will be in chapter number 17 of the book of Genesis today, Genesis in chapter number 17. So let's just jump right on in here, and we'll jump in. We're looking at the life of Abram. And in here we'll have the name changes for Abraham and Sarah. We'll talk about those when we get there, and reiterating the promise that those two will have a son. And that, of course, we know that son will be Isaac. So let's just jump right on in. Genesis 17, verse number 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. So once again, a lot of this is God reiterating these promises again and again, expounding on them, expanding them. But these same promises, God telling Abraham, I want to make a great nation out of you and out of your children, out of your descendants. Verse 3. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. Now this change is very slight from Abram to Abraham. And the word Abram, his original name means father or high father. And then the name Abraham means father of many or father of a multitude. So it goes from being, a positional type title or name to one reflecting the future, that not just is he a highly respected person or head or father, but that his descendants will be numerous and many. Verse 6. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Wonderful little phrase. I love that. And I will be their God. God says, I'm going to choose to have a special relationship, not singling out this special relationship with the Jewish people, the descendants of Abraham, but not just saying I'm not going to have a relationship with anybody else, but this special relationship and closeness to this group of people, God's chosen people. All right, now verse number 9 is going to begin a section here, and we're going to talk about or read about the physical sign that the Jews had and still practice of circumcision as a physical sign of keeping this covenant. This is where the rite of circumcision begins with Abraham and his family. So let's jump in here and we'll look at this. Verse number 9. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with the money of a stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. We'll go and read verse 14. And the uncircumcised man, child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. So here we have this, like I said, this physical sign, this religious rite of circumcision that is given to the Jewish people, one that still follows today. And I don't want to get into any kind of debate on here on that. There's medical professionals that say one way or the other on that. but this was something prescribed for the Jewish people that they were supposed to do. And they observed it back then. They observed it following throughout the scriptures. It's still observed today, and even culturally, even here in the United States, it's something even non-religious people largely practice here in the United States and other places in the world. So there we go. There that is. Verse number 15. And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will also bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Now, pause right here a minute. We have this name change. Just like Abram going to Abraham, we have Sarai going to Sarah. Now, Abraham's name change is a little bit more clear, but Sarah's is very slight also. The general meaning, kind of the same root, like Abraham had the same root meaning father. We just kind of changed a little bit of the connotation of it. Sarah's name is the same way, and I hope I'm understanding this properly to explain this, but it appears to be really in the minutia of language where this change comes in. And basically the name Sarah comes from a root meaning princess, and the idea goes from Sarai meaning kind of a princess, just a general term for princess, that Sarah is more of a specific, the princess. So it goes from something more general to something more specific is kind of my understanding, which is reiterated there in the next verse, where it's saying, she's going to be the mother of nations, the mother of kings. So she needs to be a princess. It needs to be royalty in that sense. So not just a princess, but the princess. Verse 17. What's Abraham's reaction here? Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? So Abraham's initial reaction to hearing this, he laughs. I mean, in his mind, in his understanding, I think he has figured that he has provided the heir with Ishmael through the marriage to Hagar. And God is saying that's not the union, not the child that I'm choosing to have this relationship with, choosing to have this covenant with. No, Sarah is going to have a child. And Abraham, like I say, he just thinks it's so ridiculous, it's so ludicrous that he laughs and says within his heart that this is insane. How can he have a baby? How can she have a baby? Both of them are well past childbearing years. Verse 18. And Abraham said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. Something you'll see in this is with Ishmael that Abraham did love that boy. And Abraham really wanted what was best for him, and really wanted Ishmael to become something. And so hearing this, Abraham's not just, oh, okay, well, good, we'll have another kid. How exciting. He's saying, what about the boy I already have? What about Ishmael? And God's going to make some promises here concerning him. Verse number 19. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. Isaac means laughter. We'll get to that later. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. And we'll go ahead and close this section out. Verse 22, it says, And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. So the last message here from God is saying, look, Sarah is going to have a child. In fact, go ahead and write it down the calendar. A year from now, you're going to have a child. But he says, I haven't forgot about Ishmael. In fact, Ishmael is going to be the father of great nations. And we're going to get there and talk about this later when we see some of his descendants, very powerful, very, very powerful, and still some people there in the Middle East can trace their lineage back to him, still a father of great nations, even unto this day. So, verse number 23. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the same day, as God had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9. I'm constricting that, I guess, contracting it. When he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. So here we have Abraham following out on the command of God and performing this rite upon all the males inside his household that were, let's say his own son, servants, etc., and performing the rite of circumcision on them. And so here, really, if you want to get out to, where can you go back and trace the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, Jewish faith? You can trace in the promises that Abraham made, but here we really begin to see that identity really coming in with not just God making promises to the people, but saying, this is one of the things I expect back from you, is this act, this rite of circumcision. So anyway, that's it. We've covered the chapter, and we will continue on to the next chapter next time. So once again, I thank you for watching, and I hope it's been a help and a blessing to you.